So, has it been a while since you've seen a great kick-ass martial arts film? Well, let's see how this one turned out. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion. Hey, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion for my striking rescue movie review. And if this is your first time finding me and you happen to like this video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. All right, guys, now we have Striking Rescue. And if you know me and if you've been subscribed to my channel, you know that my two most favorite pieces of entertainment to talk about are superhero comic book movies and martial arts films, which brings us here. And this one is also starring Mr. Tony Jaa, of course, who I'm a big fan of from over 20 years ago. If we just scroll down and look at his filmography, I think it was 2003, the first time he popped up on the scene for me with Bak, the Thai Warrior. He went on to do The Protector, Bodyguard, Bak 2 and 3, and all of those good films. I don't think I like The Protector 2, to be honest with you. I think I'll turn that one off, but he was also in Furious 7, Kill Zone 2, Never Back Down, Surrender. I think this is Never Back Down 3. I haven't seen that one. I need to check it out. I've only seen clips online. Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage, Triple Threat. I did like that film a lot. And also Master Z, The Yip Man Legacy. I think he was an antagonist in that film. I didn't see the whole movie. But yeah, he's been around for quite some time. He was a highlight in the Expendables 4, so he has been around the block. Now, this film is being directed by Siyu Ching. There is no picture of the gentleman, but he directed the Tai Chi Master that came out a couple of years ago, which is on the Well Go USA website. If you guys are familiar with that, they do a lot of martial arts films. Well Go USA Entertainment is an Oscar-nominated theatrical and home entertainment distribution label that specializes in bringing the best action genre in independent films from the US and around the world to North America. Check out their YouTube channel if you would like an idea of some of the films that they do cover. But there is one on here titled The Tai Chi Master right here, and the director that we are speaking of was responsible of that. I did see bits and pieces of it and I was entertained, but he also directed The Grand Master of Kung Fu, which I did review on my channel, and it was great. And so if you are a fan of this director or any of these other films, please let me know down in the comment section below. But as far as my expectations are concerned, they were mediocre to high. I love martial arts, I love action, I love Tony Jaa, I love Well Go USA. So there was really no reason for me to think that this would be piss poor or just not up to my standards. So before I get into all the nitty-gritty, before I talk about all my likes and dislikes, let me tell you exactly what this film is all about. A veteran Muay Thai expert goes on a take no prisoners mission of revenge after his wife and daughter are brutally murdered by mysterious forces. Tony Jaa delivers his signature Muay Thai annihilation in an extended fight scene. All right, guys, the first thing that I really loved about this film is the action, is the martial arts that we all signed up for. That is why we're here, and you will not be disappointed. They do deliver the goods, and I am a happy camper as a martial arts fanatic. And Tony Jaa is coming through, like the synopsis said, with his signature Muay Thai martial arts style, and it is not stale, it is not dated, it still feels fresh, and I'm loving every bit of it. You're gonna get the kicks, you're gonna get the punches, you're gonna get the knees, and you're gonna get the elbows. And like I said, it is highly, highly entertaining, especially when they come through with all those sound effects. That really does intensify the action for me, whether I'm in the theater or at home where I'm able to turn on my surround sound. It does make a big difference, and I was eating it all up. And I also just like the different forms of action. Some of it is just hand to hand, where there is no weapons. Some of it is a lot of gunplay with assault rifles, handguns. Some people have bats, rods, sticks, knives. There is one character that has axes. 2 of them to be exact. Now, if you've seen the film The Raid 2 or The Raid Redemption Part 2 of that series, there's a character in that film with hammers. There's one called Baseball Bat Boy, and the other one is called Hammer Girl, and she's going around killing people with hammers. That's crazy. We also have a character like that in this film as well, but instead of hammers, she has axes, and she's pretty formidable as well. Now, the choreography is not as great in this film with any of the fighting or the 2 dual axe girl than the Hammer Girl in the Raid 2, but it's still good. It still is entertaining, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. So it's still great, it's still entertaining, it's still choreographed well. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it, but it did remind me of the Raid 2, but it's just not as good. But again, that's just not a bad thing. What also makes the action great are the practical effects that are tied into it. One character, while everybody is fighting in the middle of the streets, just comes through, jumps over some bushes in his car and runs over like 8 people. And it looked real. I was like, damn, how did they do that? How did they film that? How did they make this so convincing where it actually looked like he ran over these people? I mean, it's very, very effective. And I like that. I always talk about how during my action, I want scenes to where every character involved that is in the frame, that is in the aspect ratio, is giving 100%. They're all 100% effort to seize the day or to accomplish their mission. So when you have an action scene where it's 50 to 100 people and everybody's running around with knives and swinging them everywhere, I was like, okay, I don't see any characters in the background or off to the side that are waiting to attack the other person. I really did like that there in a number of scenes in this film. They did a good job of executing that and making sure that every I was dotted and every T was crossed. And with that action, you also have to put the camera in the right place, and they do that as well. This same scene, it was not shot in one take, I can tell, but it looked like it was. They did some clever editing to make it look like it was all in one shot, to where it starts off just showing somebody in a car, camera pans around and shows what they're looking at through the driver's window, then goes out of the car, shows people shooting and running, and then goes back in the car, showing the people in the passenger seat and the driver's seat as they have the car in reverse while people are jumping on the side of the car while they're trying to shoot them, and then the camera's panning all around. This is all one take right here, and it looks great. It looks believable. I'm like, damn, this is a great job. I don't know what the budget was for this film. It kind of shows in some of my nitpicks, which I'll be talking about later. But for the budget, which I imagine was maybe just a few $1 million, I think they did a great job with it. Again, that camera work is key, and they had it in all the right places, knew how to maneuver it around, knew how to pan it up, down, left, right, in and out, all that good stuff. I do like the villains. I do like the antagonists, the way that they set themselves up at the very beginning of the film and revealed who they were as it progressed. I liked it. It reminded me of a video game. Like at the very beginning of the movie, you have level boss 1 and all the way up to level 10, the final boss. That's kind of how the film was set up. And I liked it. There wasn't 10 bosses, 10 villains, 10 bad guys, but you know, they had that structure there, and I like the way it all rolled out too. And these villains are very ruthless. One of them has a signature move. I don't want to say exactly what it is, but I liked it. When he pulls it out, he's knocking somebody across the room. Love that. Also, the other villain, I was like, damn, that movies always have to have some scene to where they just show how evil and nefarious they are. And this one was very, very effective. Well, they sold it. I was like, well, that's just cold. That's just ruthless, man. Like, my goodness, do you not have a heart? No, they don't. You just murdered all these people right here. And it's very, very tragic. And I'm just like, wow, no one is going to survive if this guy gets pissed off. He is extremely, extremely greedy. So great job there with the villains, with the antagonists. And also with the action, I mean, I love a great hallway fight scene. When you have some people trying to attack you in a hallway and it's narrow, only 1, 2, or 3 people can attack you at one time. They took full advantage of that. So that's what's up right there. Great job, great job, great job. Now, as far as the story is concerned, I like the way that was presented as well. It was told in multiple flashbacks. Sometimes when they do a flashback, they only give you half of the scene, and then later on in the film, they will reveal the whole scene to you. Like, oh, okay, they didn't show that part earlier. They showed this, and this is an important key point. Now everything is making sense. It's just basically corruption in the police department. They're trying to get rid of the drugs, and of course the police are not going to have that, and people get caught up in the middle. Of course, we're talking about Tony Jaa here, and he just wants justice. He is trying to seek the people that harmed his family. And then that's pretty sad as well. There's a few twists, there's a few turns here, some people that you can't trust, you really don't know until the very end. That's not why we're signing up for the movie anyway, but it's an additional bonus and was another entertaining aspect of the film. Of course, we got to talk about Tony Jaa. He's the reason why we all signed up. And like I said at the very beginning of this view, he does deliver the goods as far as the action is concerned. And so I have no complaints as far as that's concerned. But guys, those are the things that I really did like about the film. Now let me transition to some aspects that just really didn't work out for me. The first one being that Tony Jaa is the only character in this film that speaks in English. And I don't understand that. And that's not a bad thing. This distribution company is called Well Go USA. So maybe they came up with that because they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. Everyone doesn't like foreign films and everybody doesn't want to read subtitles when they're watching their movies. I don't mind it. For example, my mother hates it, but he's speaking English in this movie, but every other character is speaking in their native tongue, in their native language, or wherever this country is. Now, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not trying to sound ignorant here. It says that the production company for this film is China, but I doubt that they were speaking Chinese in this film. I don't know exactly what language they were speaking. And it says Mandarin, but I just don't think that's accurate. I don't know what language they were speaking. Maybe I could have done a bit more research, so please forgive me. But the reason why Tony Jaa's English is a bad choice in this movie is, one, he's the only one speaking English. Everybody else is speaking a different language. And because of that, his acting is bad when he speaks. It's just not good. It is very, very cringeworthy, and I just don't like it. No one in the world, to my understanding, is showing up to a Tony Jaa movie to see his acting. No one really cares about that. We just want to see him kick butt, and that's fine. But it is quite jarring when his acting is just not the best when he's speaking English. I think his performance will come off more authentic if he was speaking in his native tongue, whatever that was, or whatever that is, or what everyone else is speaking. Now, and again, I'm not trying to talk down on the man, okay? He can speak more than one language. I can only speak one. I can only speak English, so he is smarter than me as far as that's concerned, but I just don't understand the creative decision right here to where he's the only one speaking English and everyone else is not. They even had a scene where he was speaking in English to another character, but the character did not know what he was saying. And another character in the scene had to translate, but they did it as a joke and it just wasn't funny. I don't understand that. Also, what makes it even worse is there is a girl that he is teamed up with, a colleague in this film. She speaks English half the time. Sometimes she speaks English to Tony Jaa's character, but sometimes she speaks in a different language and goes back and forth. Multiple times, she will be talking in English, Tony Jaa will reply in English, and then she will respond in another language. Then Tony Jaa will respond in English, and then she will respond in English. So she's going back and forth to English, to another language, all in one conversation 3, 4, 5 times, and that happened all throughout the movie. So that's just very, very distracting there. I don't understand that decision. Another nitpick of mine that did not work is the effects that they tried to use when Tony Jaa or any other characters are driving a car. First of all, doing this right here when you're driving is just not realistic. If I'm doing this in the car, my car is going to be going back and forth. No one does this when they're driving. And the blue and green screen that they try to put in the back of the window to sell that they're driving down the street, it just didn't look real or convincing. You can tell that it was a green or blue screen. I mean, they do that all the time in movies and television, but it just looks so fake in this. And so I was just like, so that right there and this right here was pretty bad to me. So sorry about that, but I gotta be honest. Also, while the action choreography and all that was great, the one-on-one fights were great. 1-on-2 or maybe 1-on-5 or 6, that was great. But when it's Tony Jaa versus like 50 people or 100, that really didn't come across that well. They didn't sell that. There was a couple of times where I'm like, okay, y'all really could have killed him right here or knocked him off of his bike. There was one scene with a motorbike. I wasn't feeling that at all because I just feel like they could have taken Tony Jaa out. And another scene kind of just towards the beginning where it was just so many people. And I'm just like, y'all would have been captured right here, okay? There's no way you would have been able to escape. So that was kind of annoying. I didn't like that as well. They kind of dropped the ball there. And also at the very end, this is just a little nitpick. I just feel like they missed out on an opportunity with the final scene, the final action scene of the film. They missed an opportunity where it could have been a 2-on-1 fight and just the whole thing just ultimate badassery, but they didn't take advantage of it. So that's kind of a bummer. Not saying that the final scene of action choreography martial arts didn't deliver. It did, and I was entertained. But as we was getting up to that point, I was saying to myself, oh, wait, are they gonna be doing this person versus these two people? That would be badass. And they didn't really come through the way I thought they would. And so I was just like, oh, okay, I thought we was gonna get that. That's what y'all was leading me to be. But overall, guys, I really did enjoy the film. If you are a martial arts fan, martial arts expert, both, whatever. I think you'll have fun with this movie. It does give you what you want for the most part as a martial arts fan, and I just don't think you will be disappointed just for the kick-ass nature of the film. Go ahead and put this on the list. I really did enjoy myself. Not a perfect movie, not the best Tony Jaa movie, but it is a worthy film of martial arts fans, like I said. I will go ahead and give my rating for this at the very end, but for now, guys, that is just my opinion, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this film, if you did enjoy my review, my take on it, let me know down in the comment section below. Leave a comment, leave a thumbs up, share the video, and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Trying to get to 75,000 subscribers by summer of 2025, and I can only do that with your help. But if I had to rate Striking Rescue out of a 1 out of 10, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. Yes, a 7 out of 10. But guys, I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. And before you go, don't forget that my name is Brandon Keith Avery, and that's just my opinion. Peace.